buying. So I just bought an Apple Watch, the old one. I got the SE2, second edition. I'm checking my statistics. And I still don't know how to do. I think I have to set a workout to walk, but it does record steps. So today I only did 5,000 steps. And that was because I didn't have, my son didn't go to school. So I wasn't walking around the city. But usually I'm doing like 14,000 or something. Wait, hang on. Where was it? Usually I'm doing like I'm well over 10,000 because I've had this thing for a few days now. Step count. Wait. Yeah, 10,000. What was that? Why is it? I don't know what this means. Why they put the number up there and then the barcode? Like that shit doesn't make any sense. Like, so is that 10,900 in total, or is that shit is horribly explained? Okay, no, 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 no. Wait, what? Isn't that making much sense? I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out. So I bought this Apple Watch, and I will say it's severely unnecessary. But I said, so I went. Okay, how I ended up buying an Apple Watch was ridiculous. So I how it started was I was looking for a a case for my like a carrying case for my Quest VR headset. It's in the other room now because I play simulation racing games with it. So I was looking for a carrying case for my VR headset. And I thought at first I went to the regular websites and they want like 50, $60 for it. And I said, you know what? Let me try them Temu type of sites, right? So I went on Temu and they got a whole bunch of dumb, cheap, stupid shit on there, right? And they had a case on there. And then I seen they had smart watches and they even had like smart glasses and all that for and it's gonna be like $10 a piece. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. Even if it's a piece of which it probably is gonna be a complete piece of shit, I'll just buy it just to see if I even actually use it. So I was gonna get a smart watch off of there, like some AI, because for me, like I want some of those glasses because I'm walking around the cities a lot. So like I'm in the elements of being outside and being away from home and definitely not driving. So these things would definitely come in handy in my walk of life. Now, if I was living in Ohio, it'd be a complete waste of money. Here, I could actually use it and genuinely have to use it. So I was gonna get the the VR headset case because I was playing around with my VR headset and like you could legit use that as just like its own computer. You could sync a keyboard to it, sync a mouse to it, and it's legitimately is its own computer. I just side loaded Brave on it to get rid of all the ads, and it's completely its own. Like you could take that on a plane and do legit schoolwork with that thing and be completely fine. So so I was like, so I want to get a case for that because I'll probably start traveling soon, and it's just a bunch of other random things. And I started thinking, I was like, do I really want to trust batteries that ain't been checked or nothing on my wrist and on my head? And I mean, like batteries from these motherfuckers who are just who knows who put it together. Right. I'll be walking around with batteries here, battery from the headset and the VR thing, a battery on my wrist. And look, I don't know where these batteries came from. These motherfuckers will blow up. I'll just be a walking fucking bomb. Right? Because I done bought this old janky ass, slave camp materials. You know what I mean? These T-moves. Fuck that. So here's it. I can't bring myself to actually buy something off Temu. But so a friend of mine, The Russian dude I told y'all about a while back. He be buying shit off Temu. I think because he had an Apple Watch before, and he bought the bracelet, whatever you call it, the strap, and it looked real nice. It looked like seriously luxury. He gets them off them. I don't know. It's a bunch of them sites like that, and he gets them off of there. So I said, hey man, do you still use Temu? And if you do, can you just buy something for me? Because I just don't even I cannot make the jump to buy some shit that is janky, that I know is getting ready to be janky. Like I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't care how much it costs. It's okay. Okay, here's the thing. I can usually buy some low quality shit, especially if it's at low quality prices, like a price that represents the actual quality. I'll buy it. But what kills it for me is the fact that it might take fucking 3 weeks to get here if the motherfuckers even remember to send the shit at all. That's where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't do this. Like if I could just go to the actual shitty, you know what I mean, Vietnamese store or something like that and buy it for $5, and I'd probably buy it for $5. But if I got to make a whole order and logistics for this shit that is gonna be some janky shit by the time I get it here, that's not worth it to me. I just can't do it. I can't do it. So I still haven't bought this stuff off. I'm still getting pop ups to say, hey, come buy our shit off Temu. Come buy our slave labor shit. It's so nice and cheap. And I can't do it. So okay, yeah. So then I started thinking about smartwatches since I was looking at smartwatches on Temu. So then I started looking up like cheap smartwatches just to see if I like buy it. And then I was getting ready to order one cheap smartwatch for like $30, but it was here. It was here in Prague. And the more I kept looking at it, the more I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna regret this shit. Like, cause I don't like anything that Android. If Android touches that shit, I already know it's getting ready to be some sketchy shit. Like it ain't gonna load right. It's gonna be skipping and lagging when I just move like that. I can't do it. So because I wasn't in the mood to spend $200 on a watch. I just wasn't in the mood to do that shit, right? But I knew if I had bought that $30 watch, I was gonna regret it. So then I end up going looking around where to buy, and just an Apple Watch because I was looking at the reviews and like it moved like it was supposed to move. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna go buy the Apple Watch and see if I like it. And here's the thing: as soon as I put the Apple Watch on, I said, that's it. I ain't even turned it on yet. Like it, like honestly, like okay, because I got more to the story, but real fast, like, because I used to have those Samsung smartwatches back like a while back, and none of them like I just don't get on with Android and Samsung shit. Like it just never feels like it belongs. Like the only Samsung phone that I ever had, or any device of Samsung that I had that was portable like that, was that Galaxy S6 or something like that, and that was a really good phone. But I ended up selling that. No, I had an S6 and then I had like a S9 or something. It was like S9 or something like that. Or S10. I don't know what the fuck. But I ended up selling that for an iPhone because I had the AirPods and all the other Apple shit. But like it just never feels like that. Nothing Samsung or Android. I even went to the store and tried the new ones that like fold open and shit, where it just be one big screen and they just fold. Like they look nice, but like as soon as I get to look at it's just something's just not right with it with Android and me, man. I just don't like it. So anyway, as soon as I put this Apple Watch on, I was like, I immediately like I didn't want to take it off. Right. And I didn't even turn it on yet. So after I turn it on and actually synced it, for my area of life, since I'm living in a city and I'm always like when I leave the house, I'm gone for hours. Right. So I'm walking around in a city, you know, in my life, this is great. Now, if I was living in Ohio where you got to drive everywhere and all that, it would serve not much use for me. It'd be a complete waste of money. It'd be nice, but it'd be a waste of money. Um, And I gotta make an apology about the AirPods. I call them now. The AirPods do much better in the elements of the real world, like riding the trains, riding the trams. When you're out just in the world, the AirPods are definitely a step up in all around quality out in the elements. Now, are they necessary? Absolutely not. You don't need AirPods, but they are a step up in the elements. Now, when you're just at home chilling, I'm not a fan of AirPods. Like when I'm at home, I use those $20 earbuds. But then when I go out, I use the AirPods. But yeah. So after I got this watch, I was like, okay, now let me go out and now I'm gonna go buy a cheap one just to see what I'm actually missing. So I went and bought it was called a Nice Boy. It's some Czech brand, like Nice Boy or something like that. I'll show you the watch I bought. It was a nice boy for, I think it was like light or something like that. It was this one. This was the one I bought. And this motherfucker has 4-star reviews, right? See that? This has 4-star reviews. This was the one I had bought after I bought this Apple Watch. And that thing was a piece of shit. Now that was a piece of shit. Like as soon as I put, because she was here when I put it on, and I told her like, as soon as I put that watch on, I wanted to take it off. As soon as I put that watch on, my first thought was, oh my God, I got to make myself like this kind of thing, right? And you had to download this app. The app wasn't too bad, but it was still just janky. It wasn't right, man. Like, it just wasn't right. I mean, it's like $35, $35. But no, I returned that shit. Like, I will pay a motherfucker to take this shit away from me. Right? Like, I took it back today when I went to go teach this other woman when she ended up canceling. I didn't even know. I took that back and I forgot the charging cable. I said, well, look, y'all can just keep it. He goes, oh, no. Just come back. We'll keep it, but just come back and bring the cable tomorrow when we'll give you the money. I said, look, y'all can just keep this motherfucker. I don't even want it. I will literally pay you to take this shit back. But yeah. We say real men don't talk to Apple Watches. Oh, hey, I'm having a ball with this Apple Watch. I am seriously having a ball with this motherfucker. I think it's great. I love it. Like I said, as soon as I put it on, I was like, that's it. And I'm not taking this motherfucker off. All right, I don't want to take it off. Like and I've never felt like that about a watch before. Like, here's the thing, like, and I don't mean to sound like, because I don't buy the newest iPhones actually, because when I bought this watch, I was talking to the dude. He was a real cool dude. He's a Czech dude. He's a real cool dude. And I told him the exact situation. I said, look, man, like, well, because okay, so long story short, hang on, I'll be right back. So what happened was I had bought this Apple Watch. It just has a case on it, but it's the same watch as this, but it just has a protective case on it. I had bought this used from this store called Alza because I didn't even know if I'd even like the Apple Watch, right? So I bought it used just to see if I would like it. So, but the problem was I ended up liking it, but since this was used, the battery health was at like 83% or something like that. Let me see. Oh, well, I already unpaired it, so I can't pull up the battery health now because it's unpaired. But the battery health on this was 83%. So I ended up looking up on Google, and randomly I found that they had a Black Friday sale going on for the new version, which is for a new one, which is this one, for like $50 more. And it didn't have, because so this is new, so it has no scratches or anything like that. So I went to the store after I returned that piece of shit, that Nice Boy piece of shit. I told him, I said, look, I just bought this watch like 3 days ago, and I'm going to return it because I want the new one that I seen on here. And he was completely on board. He was completely cool about it. It's a great dude. Great dude. So that's how I ended up. So I'm going to return. This is the other Apple Watch. I'm going to return this one. because the brand new one it was on sale. It was only like I think like maybe $50 more, and it is completely new. The battery health was 100 is at 100%. That's all I really cared about. So but yeah. We was talking because I said, look, I got an old. I always tell people I got an old phone, man. Like I don't care about phones like that. Um, I told her I refuse to spend $1,000 on a phone. I told her like I just flat. We laughed about it because I'm always bluntly honest with this shit. Like I just refuse to do it. I will not spend $1,000 for a phone. The highest I'll go is about maybe about $300-400. I can't do it. I refuse to do it. Now, if the military gives me a phone or some job gives me a phone, I use that. But I'm not getting ready to spend $1,000. I don't give a fuck if I get $10 billion in the bank tomorrow. $1,000 for a phone is too much money for a phone. Period. I'm just not doing it. That's where I draw the line. I don't care about cameras. I don't see the use in it. I don't. It's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't see the use in spend. Especially most people are using. They're gonna spend $1,000 on a phone to just scroll through and to look at somebody else's life. They ain't even making no money with it. That's stupid. Like I don't get it. I don't. Imagine buying $1,000 phone, literally, to look at other people's lives. Just scroll through and look at other people's lives and get text messages from people you don't even like. And that's what you spend $1,000 on. Like that's dumb. That's not smart. That's stupid. So see, I got this iPhone SE. It got the black bars. Well, you can't see it because my background is black, but well, you can kind of see it. It's got the black bars on the top and the bottom. It's all right. I refuse. I can't do it. I literally cannot spend $1,000 on a phone. I can't do it. I refuse. I absolutely refuse to do it. I remember when when new iPhones were like $500, like $550. That was the price, and now they're like 1,000. It's insane. It's crazy. So Andrew Tate says real men don't talk to Apple Watch. Don't do real men don't do Apple Watches. You know what's crazy? I was watching Charlie Sheen give an interview because somebody said they would like to hear me talk to Charlie Sheen. I think he's a cool dude, but he was talking about prostitutes, and like I said, it was like a week or two ago. Like I'm genuinely curious. Like I would love to talk to guys like Leonardo DiCaprio about that. Like guys who have access, who are in a world and have access to young pretty girls who are looking for a savior and a way up and all that. Like honestly, I just find it disgusting now. Um, Here's the thing, because I was telling my spouse this, like, or my ex-spouse, whatever you want to call her. I was telling her this because when I go to work at these banks, and maybe I've mentioned it on here, but when I go to work at these banks, of course, I'm dressed up a little bit, and we go in and we get this little meeting room, and then they come in and ask us if we want something to drink and all that, and like I never got off to that. Like, but I told her I can see how guys with real jobs do fuck the secretaries. Like I think it's I can totally see it because it's just that simple. Like because these are usually, especially in Europe, Europe has much more of these cases where like small town village girls that are cute come to the big city and they're just like googly eyed over a man who's dressed up and and is wearing cologne and is speaking properly. They're just completely starstruck and all. So like you can do whatever you want with them. You know, I don't say I don't know say it like that. Like they're just completely just out. But what I'm trying to, I can totally see it. It's totally recognizable. But here's the thing: like I find it disgusting. Like at this point because like there was a time where I would have been just so desperate for a woman's attention to where I would have been happy doing something like that. But like now, no, I'm just not that desperate for female attention or anything. If anything, I'd rather them just leave. Um, but yeah, I'm really curious, like, what's that driving force behind guys like Leonardo DiCaprio? These guys who are like in this world, and then they're actively doing it and doing it for decades. There's something else in there. I think that's triggering that. It's not just, oh, young girls are just beautiful. And I think that's what society just kind of like automatically um, attributes to men in these situations, that, oh, men just like young beautiful girls. I mean, yeah, men do like young beautiful girls, but even then, at some point, like, for example, there's this one girl. She's always real nice to me. Well, they all are, all these younger girls, especially, because the younger, that's a different generation. But there's this one notable one. Um, and I pieced it together this last week that she wants to have sex, cause we were talking in Czech, but I didn't know what this word was, and they were trying to say eraser, but she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, it's a rubber, right?" And then her and her cute little friend, they all of them are cute. And then they start giggling, going, oh, then she starts getting like real awkward. And because at first I was like, how did you know that rubber meant condom? Because I could tell that's where she was going with it, right? Um, but pretty much, but she's always real nice to me. She always makes sure I'm like taking care of her and all that. But here's the thing, like, she's like 20 now. She's been great up until pretty much this last week, where she's like giggling at, like, like, the idea of saying "but" or something like that, and that's a bit awkward. Now it's like, okay, if I did have sex with her, would everything be a silly laughing game? And that's the one thing that turns me off when I'm having sex, is when a woman wants to start giggling and laughing. Like, that's just like a huge turn off. Um, but but yeah, like, that's what I'm really curious to talk to, like, these guys like Charlie Sheen, and guys, because I am in uh I am in a relatively rare situation. But because generally, by the time a guy's in my position, he has to have like millions of dollars, and he got to be famous and all that. Where where I definitely don't have $1 million, and I'm definitely not famous in the real world. So, but I do have the common correlation of having access, always being around young and attractive women, like, all the time. And at some point, it does just start to get like, it's not just the young and attractive women, but just being around women in general. Like, it gets boring. It gets, I'm not, and maybe it gets boring to DiCaprio at some point. I don't know. But it really does just it becomes more of an annoyance than anything else. What's up, Elijah? A lot of people buy new gadgets with higher prices but underuse them. It's more about having a higher value device. That's the idea. Well, yeah, and nowadays, 900. Nowadays, man, like, most people really don't need. I say at least 95% of people don't need a cell phone that was made within the last 5 to 10 years. I would say at minimum 90 to 95% of people, we just don't, they don't, just scrolling Instagram, maybe sending an email or two, maybe doing an Excel sheet, and it's some bullshit social media. Most people don't need, the highest processor and all that shit in a phone. It's a complete waste. It's really just a complete waste. It's not necessary unless you have a specific hobby that requires it. Like, it would be the same. Okay, what smartphones have turned into now would be like if every laptop sold with like a 5090 video card in it. Like, most, okay, you have your gaming populations who would like it, but even that's pretty much overkill for most games. For those of you who don't know video cards, it's like pretty much the most expensive part in most consumer level products for computers. It would be like putting like, well, okay, or okay, what smartphones are today. It would be like if everybody just bought Ferraris every year. Now, most people don't need a Ferrari. You know, 90 to 95% of people, that would be completely overkill for what they were trying to do. Most people are just trying to get back and forth to work at 40 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It's kind of they don't need that shit. It's really just a complete waste. Now, if the priest like, but if the person just likes it, I mean, cool. But yeah, I'm not a fan of smartphone. I'm not a fan of. I'll never spend $1,000 on a phone. I won't do it. I spent $1,000 on this laptop because that's what I was doing video editing with this. But I would never do that for just a phone. No, it's a complete waste of money, in my opinion. Ex spouse. Oh, because we like she's tripping. We broke up. We kind of broke up. What's up, Orlando Pearson? What sucks is that I have a 2018 iPhone. I can't use delivery apps unless I upgrade. You can't use delivery apps unless you update the phone from 2018. Have you updated it at all? You can't do delivery apps. Okay. It says you can't do delivery apps. That's wild. That's fucking wild. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And here's the other thing. I had no idea because when I was looking up reviews for like the watch and the AirPods and all that, I stumbled into looking up fake reviews, like to compare them, and I had no idea the fake Apple shit has gotten so deep. Like I had no idea that people are actually like happy to buy like fake AirPods. But here's the thing. I hear now this is a big rabbit hole. Now I figured out that like most people, especially like when you start talking like Czech Republic, most of this shit you're gonna see is fake. Okay, or okay, either it's fake or it was a very poor decision on the person who bought it because. Here's the part that people, especially Americans, aren't really aware of. Like the average wages in many other countries outside of like Germany and Norway, these kind of places, the average wages are like, when the take home pay is like $1,200 a month. $1,000, 12, and these are in capital cities. Most average people are making under $1,000 a month. So they're walking around with these was it the AirPod Maxes that are like $700. It's fake. Like most of these kids you're gonna see walking around with AirPods, and iPhones. It's fake. They can't. Either it's fake or it's a very poor financial decision. Okay, these people don't have the money for that. Period. They don't have the money for that. Like that would be an incredibly dumb decision for these people to do that. Where being here in Czech Republic, the average wage is just not that high to make that ever a good decision. Okay. Okay. And I had no idea how deep that fake market went. And to be fair, some of the stuff performed well from what I've seen. Um, and here's the thing. At first glance, I would think I would not. I would think I wouldn't have a problem with buying a fake iPhone until I thought about it. And not because it's just a fake iPhone, but I would buy a fake iPhone because it operates as a decent phone by itself, regardless of what it's supposed to be. It still did what it's supposed to do as an actual phone for like $100. At first I was like, yeah, I would buy one of those, just keep it as a backup or something. But then I thought about it, like the same thing with Temu. Like, who knows who put this phone together? Who knew who fucking. Nobody's checked this battery. No, there's no quality assurance, none of that shit. Like, is it really worth not knowing if this counterfeit thing is gonna catch on fire in my pocket? Is that really worth it to say? Is it worth saving money to put literally batteries in your fucking ear from the AirPod from counterfeit AirPods and them motherfuckers just catch on fire? but they was $40. Like, is that really worth it? Is that really worth it? Is that worth it? I don't think so. I'd rather just go ahead, just get at that point, I would rather just go ahead and just get a legit shittier version that has been through some quality assurance to make sure at least have a better chance, of it not catching on fire while it's in contact with my person. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild shit. And motherfuckers do that. Like, just so they can look like they got a new iPhone or a new Apple Watch or whatever. Because so now on Pinterest, I typed in Apple Watches. Well, I typed in Apple Watches on Pinterest, and it's just motherfuckers selling like they just advertising like, yeah, this is the Apple Watch Ultra 14 CX Plus and all this shit, and it'd be funny because they be trying to use it to show you it works, but every time right when it's getting ready to skip a lag, they fast forward it. It's a piece of shit. Fuck that old man. Like, look, and I'm not saying this I'm not saying this out of any type of bias. I'm saying this out of merit. Okay. If it is not made, if you are getting ready to make something that does not have American influence on it, I don't want it. All right, I just don't want it. I need that level of quality assurance, consistency and quality assurance, and that's why I can't buy from Timu, because Timu, mm-mm. Remember that shit? Remember when China was trying? Remember when what was it when Trump first was talking about the tariffs and all these Chinese motherfuckers talking about, yeah, we make purses, yeah, you know that $3,000 purse, we make it for $50 here in China, and they talking about, yeah, so we got you. I'm like, no, y'all don't got us. Cause that quality assurance ain't there. The motherfuckers ain't got it, man. Like, fuck around and you order you fuck around and order a Corvette from China and that shit be the size of a go-kart. You be like, what? It was like, yeah, look, the picture look just like the picture. Like, no, bro, get that shit the fuck out of here. They ain't got that awareness of consistency. And it's like by the time they do, they damn near be ready to be killed if they say the wrong thing. The motherfuckers ain't got it. I ain't buying nothing okay, I'll buy something out of China if Americans came in there and made sure they operated in a certain sense of decency. Cause I ain't trusting nothing that them motherfuckers touched. Motherfucker had me in the ER. Fuck around and wearing and touching any of that shit. Ain't no telling what them motherfuckers done to that shit. Fuck that shit. And they had a nerve to be talking about some, yeah, we gonna take over the markets. Yeah, no the fuck y'all ain't. You gonna embarrass yourselves doing that shit. Because the motherfuckers gonna see for real what y'all really are. The whole reason why we able to sell iPhones is that's American level of quality assurance walking in that bitch. Y'all motherfuckers start making the C phone, motherfuckers they gonna be blown up in the hospitals, those types of shit. So yeah, it's just a beta. It's just beta. It's just a beta. It's all no, bro. You keep that shit over there. Touching that. Mm-mm. I need consistency in my quality. Fuck that. I don't be fucking with that Temu shit. I can't bring myself to buy anything off Temu. I say Platypus Dream, what's up, man? I think the super low level of effort required. If the woman is doing all the work and you can just pick one out of the 100 that approach you, I don't really get them. Hang on, I don't understand where that came from. Maybe I'm reading it. What's up, DeMarco? So I think it's this. I think it's super low effort. Maybe I was talking earlier and I lost complete track of. Okay. You're talking about maybe the Leonardo DiCaprio thing with the pretty girls. Yeah, man. Like, so here's the thing. Okay, everywhere I go to sit down or be or like take my son to school or whatever, like there is always a legitimately attractive woman like everywhere. Right. I mean, there's gonna be some, some that kind of miss, but like but everywhere I go, there will be like in America. Okay, because I ran across it because I took my son to school by myself Tuesday, and and we was coming up the stairs, and it hit me right. We was coming up the stairs, and this tall, complete model looking girl, check girl, comes walking up the stairs, and she walks around us. And I remember thinking to myself, I said, yeah, if that girl was in America, like if I would have like stopped and like caught my breath to look at her kind of thing. But over here, it's like it's just so normal. You just don't really like you don't remember. I remember the first time I came across the situation. I was in front of this mall called Phoenix. It's called Phoenix in Visocani. It's part of Prague called Visocani, and there was this beautiful girl standing outside. And I remember I seen her, and then I just kept walking. And that was when I caught myself of remembering, like, yeah, back in Ohio, I would have remembered that girl for the next 3 weeks, and try to hope I see her again just so I can get a glance at her. But in Prague, it's just like you just don't care. Like you and you get to a point where like you can just start walking past it. So like but like I said, in America, i- in America, any girl walking working in a coffee shop or you will every because me and my dad talked about this. Every time you go outside, you will come across a model quality woman. Every time you go outside and walk anywhere, okay, maybe not here because if you walk to the trash cans, this might may not be outside. But anytime you walk in an area where there's going to be people at, definitely for sure, or you walk into any coffee shop, you are going to find them Clara Delavingies. What's that bitch name? Clara Delavingi. Let's see, Delvingi, whatever this bitch name is. Her. It's a million of them out here. That's just the norm. And she's really just more of an average girl. She just has on makeup in the right way. But these girls are super common over here. Like that's just like that is you will find girls that's the general quality out here. And she just has of course her makeup's done perfectly well, but even minus that, like or with that or minus that, you will see girls. As a matter of fact, there was this girl, she came up. So this girl, she asked me for my Instagram. This was Tuesday. Wait, no, it wasn't because I was wearing that coat. This was Monday, and I went to the mall after I dropped my son. I show you your pictures. So somebody's probably gonna go contact her and all that, which is cool. I mean, I really don't care, but because I showed my spouse this. I showed her the. Hang on, where is it? This girl. So I show you her pictures. So this girl. I was walking in the mall, and but this is normal here in Prague. This is nothing abnormal in Prague. I was walking in the mall, and I was tired, and I seen a bench, and she was sitting with this woman, but she was sitting in such a way like one was gonna have to move, and I was like, look, I'm gonna sit down. So and she was like looking at me, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to sit down. And so she scooted over, and I sit down next to her, and then she just keeps staring at me, and then she's like strikes up a conversation with me, and she tells me she's from Latvia, and she's been here for like 6 months or something like that. And and she wants to go out for coffee sometimes. Like she said, I just want to go out for coffee with you sometime. And first she was trying to give me her number, and I said, "Look, I'm just waiting for my son to get out of school. He's like down the street, right?" And then she goes, "Okay, well," she starts asking about Instagram. So I said, "Okay, here, yeah." So I pulled out my phone, showed her, and she found herself on my phone. I don't know, because I don't like Instagram. But but that girl in America, that girl in North America would easily be like, you know, some like the girl in the neighborhood kind of thing. But over here, like you will see that like maybe not. She's a little brown, so that's a little rare. But like for the most part, like she's not anything that's really gonna stand out in Cherokee. Like you will completely forget about it. But what's up, Games Day? But yeah, so back to like DiCaprio and these guys, like to like actively like I don't. And here's the other thing I found weird, and maybe this because I'm second questioning myself in life and shit, right? Because I'm comparing myself to other motherfuckers, which you shouldn't do. There was this thing. It was something I seen where Gilbert Arenas was looking at pictures with this guy of Iggy Azalea. Now I always thought Iggy Azalea was like porn quality. Like I was always on Iggy Azalea, however you say her name, tall white girl who was like a rapper for a little while. I always thought she was hot, but he was looking at her and he was telling the dude to like go into her phone and like steal pictures off her phone. Like what? steal like my brain would never go. Now here's the thing. I don't understand how some guys can get so creepy. Now that's creepy shit to me, right? There is no way I'm giving a woman that much thought to where I'm going to sit down and be and spend time literally thinking about how I'm going to steal pictures off of her phone. That's ridiculous. Like I didn't know guys are out there that genuinely think like that. You know what I mean? He's Gilbert Arenas. This motherfucker's a basketball player. This motherfucker, you mean like, do you know Gilbert? Do you know Gilbert? Do you know who you are? Do you know what? Well, maybe you don't, because look, I don't care about bitches that much. There is no Beyonce. Michelle Obama's pussy isn't worth that. I will let Michelle Obama. I am not thinking about how I'm going to break into Michelle Obama's phone to get nudes out that shit. All right, I'm just using her as example as like the one of the highest of women, just in the world of being, women in a sense. I'm not Melania Trump. I don't care. I'm not going through Beyonce's. I don't want to touch Beyonce's phone. All right. I'm not going out of my way to think. I wonder what Beyonce. I wonder if I can trick her into having sex. Here's see. Now, this is where I think some dudes are like rapists for real. And I'm not trying to say Gilbert Arenas is a rapist, but this is like rapist shit to me. I told y'all this story about that dude a while back in college when I was working with him, and he ended up. I think he got me to quit or be fired. But what I found, as I told this story, I think he did. But I told this story. I told the story before. It was a similar case where because we were friends at first. We were like I don't say friends, but we were cool. We would talk about girls and stuff. And he was my boss because we was like roughly the same age. But I started college late, so like I was still in school, and he already had his bachelor's and was working a job in the school, so he hired me. So we would talk about the girls and stuff like that. And he hired this one girl named Rachel, and Rachel was his. Now she was a real good looking like Latino girl. She was real good looking back, when she first came there, and we all like everybody knew that she kind of liked me. Even my girlfriend at the time, the black girl I told you guys I dated before, she would go and talk to her, and my girlfriend would come and tell me that yeah, she really likes you, kind of thing. Like everybody kind of knew she kind of liked me, but like I wasn't interested in her because she had a kid. And this was a community college, so that you're not getting like the best of the best in a community college, right? In terms of future prospects. So I remember that went on for because I was dating the prettiest, essentially the prettiest black girl, and this is a big community college. This community college was not small. This was, I think, it's the biggest one in the country. Um, and I was dating by far the prettiest black girl there already. And so what happened was that now, me and the guy, we see, he came up with some story that somebody, he said somebody was uncomfortable. Someone was uncomfortable with me working in that department. So I said, okay, I'll just leave then. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable because I was working in tutorial anyway. So I just left. So I got the story later on of what happened was Rachel had left her phone in his room. I remember where his room was because I bumped into Rachel and I bumped into this other woman I used to work with in a completely separate occurrence, and they both told me like the same story. um, Rachel had left her. The story that I got, the stories that I got that lined up was that she left her phone in his room. Well, he and she said, and she said that she don't know how he even got into her phone because her phone had a password on it, and he got into the phone and took pictures of her naked pictures in with his phone of her phone. Like let's say like this is her phone, this is his phone, and he took pictures of her nudes and put them on his phone, and then he sent them. He sent the pictures to her, right? And so she got mad and said, "Okay, well, if you pretty much she wanted him to hire her on. If he would have hired her for an actual real paying job, then she wouldn't have said anything. But he never hired her on, so she went and told on him and got him fired, and he had to go. He had to leave that school, and he went down. From what I hear, he went to the University of Cincinnati to go do something down there. So he had to leave Sinclair, and he went down to where I'm from to go to work down there. Like I never I can say it with 100% fact. I've never given it that much thought. I've never given any woman that much thought to where I'm going to scheme a ways to get or see anything. I mean, of course, if you like a girl, you want her to talk to you, so you try to talk to her, these kind of things, but not like in these kind of ways. That's just not anywhere. Jenna Ortega, dude, I think Jenna Ortega is pedophile shit. I've always been openly honest about that. I think Jenna Ortega is pedophile. That girl looks like she's 15. Maybe she looks older now. I don't know. Let me look at her. Let me get a good look at her. No, that's pedophile shit in my book. That looks like a little girl. That looks like my friend's daughter. Maybe if I met her in person and she start talking and she start coming off as older, that looks like that's pedophile. That's borderline pedophile shit to me. No, she's 26. I mean, she can be 26, but she looks like a little girl. If okay, here's the thing. I got into this with somebody else before. I said, okay, with Jenna Ortega and with her doing these sex scenes with these grown ass looking men, with Jenna, okay, if you seen that girl at the mall with a bunch of 15-year-old with a bunch of 15, 16-year-old girls, would you genuinely be able to look at her and be like, "Oh no, she looked 26." I mean, if you seen Jenna Ortega walking in the mall laughing with a bunch of 15-year-old girls, would you look through all them girls and be like, no, that one is 26. That one is definitely that one ain't 16. That one's 26. You know what I mean? No, that is a 15-year-old looking girl. Because I even did this. Yeah. See, no, no, mm-mm, mm-mm, no. I look at that immediately. I immediately see 15-year-old girl. That is not a grown. That does. I mean, I'm sure she's of age, but no. Mm. I mean, she's cute. I wouldn't say she's not cute, but that looks like a little girl. I couldn't do that. Yeah, now she doesn't look 15. That looks like a grown woman. Damn, bro, you got me hurt. Yo, I'm just being honest, man. I'm just being honest. I couldn't do that. If she came, if that girl came up to me, I couldn't do it. As if she came up to me in a bar or anything, my first thought is, you are a child. You know what I mean? Like that would be my immediate thought. And let's say we was in a club and it was dark, my first thought, okay, if she was to come, that happened to me actually when I came here. When I first came here, I was out when I mentioned the mall Phoenix. It was up the street from that mall when I first came here, and these girls came up to me. They were just so excited to see me and talk to me. And they were like 16, 17. But out here it's illegal to have sex with like 16, 17-year-old girls. But and they were just talking me up outside. And my first thought is, where is Chris Hansen? Because these girls are young. You know what I mean? Like they're probably, I think they told me they're like 16, 17. But out here, I think the legal age is like 16 or 17, something like that. But I couldn't do it, man. Like I couldn't do it. There is no part of me there is no part of me that wants a girl who visibly looks anywhere near like teenage years. Now, okay. Now there could be like, okay, let's say for example like a porn star like Riley Reed, like those kind of girls, like those Riley Reed kind of girls. Like, is that her name? Riley Reed? Is her name? That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, like these kind of girls. She like once she starts like moving and walking and talking, like I can see like it's clear she's like definitely not a little. I mean, I'm sure there's some 16-year-olds who do look just like her and that walk and talk just like her, but I get the feeling that she's definitely older for sure. K-pop, Jenny from Black and Pink. Let's look her up. Blackpink. Is it Blackpink? Oh, yeah, she all right. She cool. Yeah. Why do you call women bitches? Because it's just like it's slang. It's slang. It's more slang. It's slang. What's this say? Been meaning to ask you, AD, if a man can afford it, is surrogacy the better route? See, wait, you mean to have somebody else give birth to the kids? Let me just Google it just to make sure. Probably spelled it wrong, but oof. I'm gonna read and check right now. Oh, no. Flick 140. And I wouldn't agree with that because that woman. I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with surrogacy because that woman has to go through that. I'm not saying a woman can't raise a child that wasn't in her own body, but like there is I would definitely assume because like I'll never know because I can't have a child, but I would definitely assume that there is a link that would be forever missed if she there would be a link that would be forever missed if she never had her own child. If possible, don't do that. But if there's like an issue, then of course, like if there's like a health issue or something like that, then definitely do surrogacy. But if there's not a health issue, then no, she needs to have her own children. Who's that? Manon? Like I said, here's the thing. Like, I mean, she's cute, but like I said, I'm in Prague, man. Like, it's like these women are just like a dime a dozen out here. Like, it's not like a big. And she's cute. I'm not gonna say she's not cute, but I'm just not like oogling. She's a cute girl. She's cute. I mean, like I said, I'm in Prague, man. I'm just that like that alone just they just looks alone just don't really. I've seen like man like I've seen all just being out here. There's just so many different types of girls. Just riding the trains, everything. You'll just see them like all the time, all the time. Yeah, yeah. So I guess that can be considered a good part about, especially Prague, is that like or Czech Republic in general. If you pretty much if you go anywhere in Czech Republic, it's pretty much going to be that, um, because it's just how they like they're just naturally that physical face and body because they just they don't usually get like horribly fat or anything. They can get bigger, but they don't get like horribly fat. So primordial dwarfism was that. I don't know what primordial part means. That in real life, meeting people, even in that might be too. That be too. A full grown woman. No, no. That that is something. See now this is the part that sucks about like genetic issues like that is that these people usually like that's just too big of a jump for society for most people in society, and it's not like it was their fault or anything, but like that's just like too big of a fucking jump. Like for people who end up with these kind of conditions, like they have to stick in those societies when it comes to dating and stuff. Like they can't go out. Like for example, when I used to work in the mall, man, I used to work in my first job was in the mall, and I had no idea that they would do this in Ohio. Like so when it would rain, whenever it would rain like really bad, right? It would rain like horribly bad. Like whenever the weather would be just so terrible that most people just would never come to the mall. Those would be the days they would bring people with like, physical conditions like that, with genetic conditions like that, because that would be the only time like they could come in the public and everybody wouldn't just stare at them like because like I said because since the mall would be empty there wouldn't be a lot of people in there to stare at them, so those would be the days they would bring these people to the mall because they just couldn't they can't walk into the mall with I hate to say it like this but with regular people like they can't do it because the regular people would just stare at them and ask them questions or maybe some of them even pick on them because if a hood was nearby that's the first thing that's going to happen. um They have to stay in their own community, which is fucked up to say, but it's just the truth. That's too big of a jump. They got to get used to it. Hey D, I'm gonna go soon to the gym, but it'd be awesome if you would comment on the recent podcast with Dr. K called "The Real Reason Why Life is Brutally Unfair for Him." Why life is brutally unfair for men. Hmm. Here's the thing. I was also thinking. I'm gonna click on this right now, but I was also thinking about this. So, hang on. Make sure it plays first. It's probably gonna get copyrighted because this looks like it's probably a big. Yeah, it has like 1 million subscribers, 1.5 million subscribers. So it's probably gonna get copyrighted. We now have this. Okay, but here's the thing. Like my opinion on why life is so brutally hard on men. So, because I was just thinking about this earlier, and I was having a conversation with ChatGPT comparing this shit. I think, and I was talking to the girl, this one girl I'm teaching this morning. We were talking about this, and she actually brought up exactly the things that I say in this channel on how women they're afraid to walk down the street at night. They don't like to be outside at night. These kind of things. She brought it up first actually, and we were talking about it. But I think where men men have gotten a lot softer and weaker. And I don't mean to say that as just like an old guy who is just like, oh, you know how older people always say the young generation's weak and all that. But so I don't mean it in a sense of like, I don't mean it in the sense of being like physically weaker. In that same regard, like, let's say like, like 40 years ago, like if their parents would have said, yeah, you kids are weak now because we used to go out and axe our own wood. We cut down our own wood to heat our homes and then skin chickens and all that. I'm not saying in the context of that. I'm saying the men nowadays are more weaker due to technology being so instant. Men nowadays, society on a whole has gotten weaker, but women are allowed to be weak, but still be called good at being women. Men are not allowed to be weak men and still be called good at being men. See, a woman can be weak and still be considered a good woman. A man cannot be weak and be considered a good man. Men have become weak and things okay to the point where men will say it's unfair, but ultimately in my opinion, it's and I'm only saying this for like the richer Western countries. Modern men have grown too afraid to fail because you can just open up your phone, look at porn, open up your phone, watch, learn whatever you want to watch. That sense of you can just reach in your pocket and have access to the world has led men to believe everything should be instantaneous. And if it's not, then they got rejected, they're embarrassed, and they're too afraid to get up and go try again. Right. Like if you would equate where men are now, men have universally gained a glass jaw. So and here's the thing, I've cut off friends for doing this shit in Czech Republic. I'm thinking of one right now. I will cut off friends for doing this shit. One guy I knew because he played video games too. And he's the same age as me, and he had a real job and all that. But when we got to talking, it was very clear that he was playing video games to run away from reality. And I don't get along with that. I don't use video games to run away from reality. I don't use beer, alcohol, or drugs to run away from reality. I'm not that type of person, right? So, and, and I was telling one woman, like, I get it why women don't like to hear guys play video games because the first thing they're going to think is, oh, he's running away from reality. And I don't use video games for that reason. If things start getting bad, that's the first thing that go is video games and drugs. Um, um, but I had no idea how desperate men can be. I was never like a desperate. I mean, we all have moments of being desperate, but I had no idea just how seriously desperate like men can be when it comes to like wanting things and wanting people and these kind of things. I had no idea. Um, like it's okay. Like from what I started earlier, women it's okay for a woman to sit and hide behind a dating app. It's okay for a woman to sit around and wait for somebody to come give her something. It's okay for a woman to do nothing with her life, go work as a fucking waitress, and then have like Andrew Tate take interest in her and marry her, and now she's Andrew Tate's wife. It's okay for a woman to be lazy, weak, and pathetic because she's still the woman. Whereas a man, it's your job to get up, go out, travel, take chances, colonize, whatever the fuck you got to do to get the fuck up and get the fuck out. Whatever you got now, whatever you got to do. Now, and even then, you're gonna face hardships for whatever. Um, Now I have to admit there are parts that I'll never understand. Like I'll never know what it's like to turn 18 and hit, the day of the internet being in full swing. Social media. These are some areas I'll just never know. But I'm like Bruce Wayne in that Justice League episode where they went to the future and they found Batman Beyond in them, right? And Bruce Wayne is old now. He's on a cane. And the Jokers come by to fuck with him. And old Bruce goes out, he goes, I'm gonna handle this. And Terry McGinnis, he goes, like, are you sure, man? Like you didn't know you old? He goes, are criminals still cowardly and superstitious? And they go, yeah. And he goes, good enough for me. And he goes out there and he just talks to one to death and scares the shit out of him, right? I hope that made sense. But but what I'm getting at is ultimately the world is gonna be the world. Nothing really changes much at all. But you have to find the core consistencies of what's gonna work. Now, am I saying it's gonna be easy? No, it's gonna be a challenge because things will change, life will change, situations change. What I would tell you as a man to do especially if you're a Westerner and if you can even understand anything I'm saying right now, the first thing I would tell you to do is especially if you're an American, uh, get some type of teach English as a foreign language certificate. I would prefer you get a university degree and then travel to somewhere in Asia to teach English. Because next thing you know, you're gonna try. Because see, here's how this works. You're gonna get up and you're gonna travel, let's say, to some place in Southeast Asia, right? And see in these places, here's the part where like Westerners don't really get it because in Western societies, we're never really allowed to do much. But when you come to like even places like Czech Republic, now Europe's not the best for English as a second language, but like it's still better than being in like America. So like, see, when you come to these places, you can just become a teacher like that immediately. The next thing you know, you're a teacher. Now you're giving speeches, and you now put all this on so you can literally do that Build up your resume with legit titles and all that, and then start sending out resumes back to North America because now you actually have the work experience. Where in North America, it would have been so hard to get these jobs that you might as well not even try it. See, I unless you have connections or you get lucky in North America, I think America staying in America is no longer an option for most people. Unless you go to the military, you have connections, or your family is in the higher education and they know what to do with you. If you're not in any one of those boats, you need to get the fuck out. And you'll find a country that'll pay for your plane ticket because they want that English. If you understand what I'm saying, they want your English, and they'll pay you for it. They'll pay for your plane flight out there. Okay. Um, I was gonna ask you how to start being a passport bro. I mean, dude, just you. It's a scare. I'm not gonna say it's not a scare. Okay, you gotta start. You gotta take chances. You're gonna, as a man, you're gonna have to take chances, and you're gonna have to look at the realities. Okay, one bad reality is getting into that conditioning of only being able to do something with money as long as you put in, like, hours of work a week, hours a week at work, and it's this kind of mentality. You gotta get out that mentality. However you can, whatever you got to do to string it up, figure it out. You have got to go do it, because if you don't do it, you will end up pumping gas at UDF for somebody else. I have an uncle that's literally doing that right now. That motherfucker. I have an uncle that my dad knows exactly. If he's watching, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. That motherfucker has more money than I will ever get from the military, sitting there waiting for him at the VA, and he refuses to go down there and go do it because he thinks the military is going to come knock on his door and hand it to him. And I've said plenty of times, they're not going to do that. You have to go down there and raise hell until you get that money that you will get. The reason why I know this because I seen his DD 214. He got discharged at a time where they actually wrote the disability on the DD 214 in hand, by hand. I seen his disability rating, and he never got that. He was getting like half of that. So he's got that money just stacked up, sitting in there. He's got to go in there and make them give it to him. He doesn't do it. As a man, you look, if you don't take any risk or any chances, nobody will come to pick you up. Okay. You have to get up and do something for yourself. I wouldn't even think. Here's the thing. I wouldn't even think in the terms of life is unfair. That these terms don't even fucking, like. I don't even think the I'm not. I think it was Ivy Bo who said this. I'm not directing this towards you, but I think here's the thing. Titles like this cause circle jerks of misery. Okay, don't worry about if okay. I mean, if we talk about it, we can talk about it. But like in everyday life, like, don't don't even think about life's unfair. Just look at the cards, look at what you have, and make that shit work however you can. And if that's not working, try to think bigger or think in other ways or do something. But the you got to keep moving. You got to keep. There's a book. Let me see if I can find this book. It's economics does a great job of helping with these things. It was a green book. I can't remember the name of the book. It was a green. I remember I would read this on the trains here. Keynesian. It was green. It wasn't these. As soon as I see it, I recognize it. It was bright green, and I would read this book on. Is this it? No, but he was an economist who what really helped me with these topics is read about economics and read about like countries' economics from economists and their theories and what you do and this and that. So what Keynesian economics, if I remember correctly, his form of economics was saying, look, like when countries start doing real poor, the first thing they do is start giving up on themselves. Well, back in his day, right? When when countries start doing bad or when people start doing bad, the first thing they do is start giving up on themselves. Right? That's the first thing they'll start to do. When in reality, that's the time when you need to just make anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Just make something. Okay? Just anything. It doesn't matter. Anything. If you can start chipping away at anything, just get the fuck up and do that. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. If you Because once you do, see, now you actually have something to work with later. Right? Reading the realities on countries in my that helped me a lot with these things. It's unfair. Life is unfair for men, but you gotta get the fuck up. What are you doing? Okay, if I put you in a boxing ring, right? If I put you in a boxing ring and a motherfucker and he just keeps swinging on you, and if you just sit there and go, man, this is unfair. Well, what? Well, you just gonna keep getting beat up. At some point, you're gonna have to start planting your feet and start and just do something. Just you know what I mean? Just you gonna have to you because if you just going, oh man, this is unfair. This is unfair. No, you have to do something. You gotta do something. Get the fuck up. Okay. See, a woman can sit there and she can sit there and get punched and then just bend over and stick her ass up in the air. And somebody will come and rescue her out that ring. Cause that's pussy. Right. But as a man, you can't do that. You can't do that. Just sitting there going, oh, life is brutally unfair. Nobody cares, dude. You are in a boxing ring right now. What are you gonna do? I don't even want to watch this shit now. I'm thinking about it. Because it sounds like some old faggot ass YouTube shit just to get some clicks and views for a group of circle jerked men that can't pick their fucking balls up. I don't even want to watch this shit. I'm gonna click it on it in a minute, but I really don't even watch this shit. You in the interview process for word police department want to be a detective? Hey, go for it, man. I was gonna ask you if 31 is too late. No, get the fuck up. Go do it. Look, and I'm kind of like 50 Cent. How 50 Cent? Somebody said I remember 50 Cent was giving an interview a while back saying like the reason why he don't talk to his baby mama because his baby mama didn't want him to hustle anymore. He was still making he was still hustling and making like millions on deals. And he said that's the reason. And I'm the same way with my because my spouse she be on that shit too, man. She be on that old. She got too much of that running, and I think that's the core reason why we don't get along anymore. Is because it became clear. Like she be on that shit. Like, here's the thing. You have to understand that life is a sandbox. Okay. Nobody. I mean, yeah, people are making rules, but you got to look at life like, okay, you are in this fucking sandbox with everybody else. Get the fuck up. Because I've run out of patience with her, and I'm running out of patience with guys. Look. This whole self-loathing should get the fuck that shit. Get the fuck up. Click off YouTube right now and go fill out whatever application you need to, Eric X. 31, no. The fuck. See, me and her, we because we fall out about this shit because she ain't doing nothing with her fucking life. I told her a bunch of times she's going up that old crazy woman taking money at the toilets because she ain't doing nothing at all. She ain't got nothing planned. And here's the part with my life is because people see my life and get it confused that I ain't doing nothing and I don't got nothing, right? But they failed to remember that I got shit in the US and Europe. You know what I mean? And I ain't working 40 hours a week and my bills are always paid on time every month. You got plenty of money in the bank. See, people, they never put two and two together. They just see you drink one time and think you're an alcoholic. But motherfuckers don't put two and two together. Look, the world don't care. You have to care about you. If you don't care about you, well, there's something heavy to go pick up or there's a bench to go sleep on. So pick one. Either you gonna care about you, or there's a bench to go sleep on, or there's something heavy to go pick up. Because that's about all you good for. That you got to make that decision. That's your decision to make. It's not mine. And that's why me and my spouse, that's why she kicked out. Because I can't sit with people like that anymore. I just can't deal with that shit anymore in my life. It's loose. Oh no, it's not. It's fine. I can't deal with that shit, man. That's why I don't talk to my brother. I don't talk to most. My aunt, she had one of her grandkids call me, and I told my spouse, and I think I told my dad, like, I don't even want to talk to him. He left a voice message. I should play it so you guys can hear it. Call me, leaving a voice message from Ohio. You know, and I can hear about how he's talking, and I know it's like these motherfuckers are now 30 years old and ain't got nothing. Okay, look, you got to get look. Calling me, what's calling me doing? You need to, you know what you need to do, Eric. You know what you need to do. You don't waiting for somebody to give you a fucking no. See now I've over time I've just lost too much patience. You know what you need to do. Go grab your piece of paper and write it down. You know. See, and here's the thing. I learned this back when I was a tutor too. When I was tutoring in college, most times when people would come and ask me for help, most times they knew what they had to do. They know what it is for real. Most in most general cases, they knew it. Now, some cases they genuinely needed help, but you know what you know the course that you got to go. I'm talking about actually going out in the world and being adventurous rather than just setting roots. Eric, you know what you got to do. You know what you. Okay, either you're afraid of failure, you're afraid of losing something, or whatever. It does sound like it's more fear than anything. Go, you you know what you got to do. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Digital world that we can live our lives in as a distraction from the real world. And there's now more confusion than ever over what it is to be a man and the role of a man in a, and then we look at the stats around suicidality. And I think in Europe, the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 is themselves currently. Mm-hmm. Is the shifting idea of what it is to be a man having an impact on people's sense of self and their purpose?
100%. So there's a crisis that's going on in men, and
this is what I want to do. Because here, low key, this is what I want. This is like what I really want to do with my wife for real. And I'm not gonna do it because I really scared the shit out of her because I wouldn't do it, but I would make her believe I would do it. See, this whole thing of people don't know what they want to do and all that, that's bullshit. You know what you want to do. You want to know how I know you? You want to know how I know that you know what you want to do? If I came and grabbed your motherfucking ass and grabbed a fucking steak knife and shoved it up against your fucking neck, and I made you believe I was getting ready to kill you, like Fight Club. If I made you believe I was getting ready to take your life, or you had to tell me what you was gonna do with your life, you would come up with something real fast. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to doctor school and become an ear technician. Like, you would know exactly what it was. It's like the movie Fight Club when the 7-Eleven dude thought that he was gonna kill him, and he went to become a veterinarian or something like that, and he put that fear up in him. This whole shit of motherfuckers killing themselves, and I make the fuck. When they go kill your goddamn self, then the fuck out of here. You grown. See, becoming grown, something snuck up on you. That's what it was. You thought you was gonna be a kid forever. You grown now. Ain't nobody got to come and save you. You are grown. Men, they talking about men killing themselves and all under 45. Look, well, then that's Darwin. Get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. Don't even know what poverty. These motherfuckers don't even know what poverty is. You don't even know what being poor is. Oh, I'm killing myself because I don't have a Rolls Royce. The fuck out of here. You know what? Because here's the thing. I remember I was looking up the slums. Let me look this up real fast. The slums. Because I actually seen the exact slum that we this one right here. This is the exact slum. I remember this one. That's the exact one I remember seeing when we went there. Now, when you see motherfuckers living in slums, then you'd be like, okay, yeah, no. Now, that's poverty. All right. I'm not laughing at them. And then you think back these motherfuckers, oh my God, I don't have a girlfriend. I'm just a loser, blah, blah, blah. Motherfucker, if you don't get your dumb ass up, because you're stupid. How about I take you down there and throw you down there to live? I bet you figure out something real fast then. That them motherfuckers ain't got no hope. All right. I couldn't take a picture of it. When you see that shit for real, you like, I don't see how people can take pictures of slums because that shit hurts to see that in real life. I couldn't do it. My classmates did. I couldn't do it. When you see motherfuckers like just look, them people ain't got no, and these fucking ass clowns. Well, men are sad because they can't get pussy because they're scared to approach women because women are mean. Get the fuck. Look, you got to get the fuck up. I don't have patience for it. I just don't. I don't have patience for this shit. Don't know how to cook, then learn how to cook. Don't know how to. You got all this knowledge on a fucking cell phone, but you can't figure out what the fuck to do with your own goddamn life. That's some clown ass shit. I got you. I'm not talking to you, Eric. I'm just talking about to the guys in general in these.
And people think that this is new, but I don't think it's new. It's always been there. So if you look at even 50, 60 years ago, 80% of suicides are still going to be men. So historically, men have been killing themselves for like 100 years and no one's been paying attention. We're just noticing now because the problem seems to be getting worse.
Okay, and also what he's leaving out is that when men try to kill themselves, they usually do it by definite methods. Whereas when women try to kill themselves, they usually do it by these more cowardly methods that there's a chance somebody might save them. So, for example, when men will kill themselves, they will when a man overdose, they will overdose. They are not taking chances with making it out of the drug, whatever they're taking. When they kill, they will shoot themselves in the face with a shotgun, with the whole intent on killing themselves. Women will kill themselves in these little ways where somebody might save them later. It's always these ways. So the men are actually more successful at suicide is what is really meant to be. So there's a lot of these facts that, yeah, they are facts, but they're either like severely misunderstood or like half told. Like, for example, that myth that you should drink like 8 gallons of water a day or some silly shit like that. And that was completely misunderstood because it didn't take into account the actual water that you're getting in foods every day as well. So you don't actually have to drink like 2 gallons of water or some silly shit per day. Like, see, there's a lot of half-told facts or like completely misunderstood facts or was taken completely out of context. That's the part he's missing. Is that women would attempt suicide too. And in many cases, you can actually argue that there's many times where women would have all the statistical properties to actually show that they would probably attempt more suicides or be more depressed because women would generally lack vitamin D that would come from what? The sun. Because women weren't going outside and working all day, every day like the men were. right? Now, again, now when women do these things, they would always do it in hopes that somebody would find them and save them and they could possibly get out. So that's why most women usually don't actually die from suicide. That's why most men will die from suicide. Men do things to be seen to completion. Women do things to be seen. Okay. What's up? Yeah, Xavier, what's up, man?
So there's a couple of things that are really interesting to understand. So one is that if we look at what technology is doing to our brains, the first thing that it's doing is it is externalizing our attention. So if you look back, like let's say 1,000 years ago, as human beings, we spent a lot more time with ourselves. So let's say that you and I go out hunting. And then let's say you shoot an arrow at a deer and you miss. And then I shoot an arrow at a deer and I hit. So in this moment, I'm superior to you. And then we pick up the deer and we're carrying it back. And then we have about 2 or 3 hours to take that emotional insult and we kind of process it. We just give our mind space to process it, which it does automatically. Now, if you look at what happens in people's days, they don't actually have any time to process what happens to them because we are so constantly distracted by external things. So I don't know if you're like this, but I was in this point where I was idiotically efficient. So I would wake up in the morning and I would listen to a podcast while I'm like doing my exercise or whatever. And then even when I'm cooking, I'm listening to a lecture. And then like when I'm walking to the train, I have earbuds in and I'm listening to a lecture there. On the train, I'm reading. I wanted my life to be completely efficient. I didn't want to waste a single moment.
I literally listen to the news in the shower. It's
right. So we don't want to waste time. And so if you really think about it, where's the attention of your mind? Your mind is pointed outside of you. And so then what happens is once we do not pay attention to ourselves, we lose sight of our internal signals. Literally in the same way that if you raise a child in a dark cave, the photoreceptors in their eyes won't develop. They will atrophy. So anything that the mind does not get access to will start to atrophy. If I don't practice Spanish, I'm going to forget Spanish. The brain is a very efficient organ. So as we externalize our attention, we lose sight of our internal signals. We don't know who we are anymore. And now if I don't know who I am, how do I figure out who I'm supposed to be? I pay attention to the outside. Where are the answers? They're on the outside. So this person is talking about masculinity. This person is talking about what it means to be a man. This person is talking about what it means to be a man. And now since I don't have any internal source of information, I'm trying to figure out what it means to be a man from the outside world. And this is when men get truly fucked. Because what it means to be a man, we are getting all kinds of mixed signals. So on the one hand, it means being physically fit. On the other hand, it means being a provider. On one hand, it means having sex with as many women as you can find. On the other hand, it means having sex with just one woman and being a really solid man and being a good father. And then there's also people telling us that being a man means that you're shit, right? That you're toxic, that your testosterone level makes you violent, that you're evil, that you're privileged, that there's a patriarchy, all this kind of stuff. So we're getting all this information from the outside about what it means to be a man. And so there are all kinds of interesting ramifications of this. So men in today's society are not allowed to complain. So if you complain and you're a successful person or a privileged person, everyone is going to think you're arrogant. Everyone is going to think, oh my God, who's this fucking guy? This guy doesn't know what my life is like. How does he have any right to complain? And even your mind will tell you this. You'll look at these people and you'll be like, yeah, I don't have a right to complain. But now we need to stop for a second and think about what it does to your psychology when you as a human being are not allowed to articulate your suffering. I've worked with people who've grown up in abusive households where children will say to their parents, Mommy, Daddy, I'm hurting. And the parent smacks them across the face. How dare you? You're so lucky. You don't realize the sacrifices I make for you. It's traumatizing to the child when they say, I am suffering and no one listens. This is what we're doing to the generation of men. People are saying, I am suffering. For 100 years, men have been killing themselves. 80% of suicides are men. The most dangerous thing for a man under 45 is themselves. And these people have been literally killing themselves because no one has been listening to them. So in the same way that you grow up with
Okay, real quick, let me just go ahead and shut this part down. Okay, nobody will listen to you. Accept it. Accept it. You know who's gonna listen to you? your bunkmate in prison that y'all gonna be sucking each other's dicks. That's who's gonna listen to you. That's pretty much gonna be it. See, what he's saying isn't wrong. What he's saying is not. He's not saying anything wrong, but it's going parallel with black pill shit. Um, like black pill is not wrong, but that overanalyzation in this way is leading is the overanalyzation in this way is essentially turning men into what women can be, even though they'll be miserable. It's turning men into 45-year-old women so far, from what I'm getting from just like a kind of dude, how he is, kind of thing like that. This speech is turning into teaching men how to become 45-year-old bitter women. Now it's going to get to a point where you're going to seek out this perfect ideal place and person that just it doesn't exist, and if it does, it's not going to be in your best interest. Okay, it is usually going to be a lie. Okay, don't, as a man, do not expect help. Expect that the world is already against you. Don't walk out in the world with this expectation that the world is going to be your friend. I mean, don't be mean to the world, but deep down, don't expect the world should be nice and rationalize and understand where you're coming from. Don't even give the world a chance to even don't give the world the opportunity to understand where you're coming from. You have to walk in that room and know what you're doing. See, women walk in the world expecting the room to understand. Don't be mean and understand. See, women can do that. Men, you can't know. You don't walk around the world hoping the world understands you. Fuck you. You know what the world understands? What the world understands, what men build and what men make. That's what the world understands from a man. If you ain't building nothing or making nothing or trading something at a good price, then you better go pick up that heavy boulder or be flung off a cliff. That's about the only options. Because you're going to sit around and wait for that. The only other option you got, well, now we have a decent option. Now we have AI companions. I think Linus Tech Tips. Let me start on that shit. Linus Tech Tips. He was doing that shit. Was it Tech Quickie AI? It was an AI part, and he was looking at like this shit is sad. This is it right here. I was watching this review. I've always liked Linus Tech Tips. He was always cool. I used to watch him way back in the day. I'm sure this is gonna be copyrighted. But yeah, so
Is this big oil painting living up to the hype? It has a microphone, just the one, so I wouldn't imagine its noise cancellation is going to be very good. No subscription. That's a cool feature.
You sitting there waiting for motherfuckers to understand and like you and all this shit. You gonna be sitting up like this?
Honest with our friends. I wasn't being serious about the weather, Riley. I was more just testing to see if you have any kind of geopositional awareness. Haha, you got me. I don't really have that kind of awareness, so I just went with your lead. Got him. That Riley.
So would you pay more to...
So he's reviewing this AI partner that you like tap and you talk to. He's making fun of it because he knows it's pathetic. But that's about where it's headed. Sitting around, the men became too feminine. The men just became too feminine, man. The men became feminine. They became 45-year-old women. And you sitting there trying to hope motherfuckers just Hope people understand you and accept you. Don't no a man. Look. Men don't sit around and hope motherfuckers understand him. Men sit around. Men wait until somebody. Okay, a man's job is to just declare what he is, and then navigate the world. Don't sit around and hope motherfuckers gonna like you and all that shit. Javi says, "I'm glad my father told me this when I was." It's sad, man. Like, yeah, this.
As a child in a household that's abusive, where no one takes you seriously, no one listens to your suffering, and now we even have successful men who are not allowed to complain. So the psychological impact is the same. Anytime you have a human being who is suffering in some way and they cannot find connection with another human being, they cannot find compassion with another human being, that person is going to feel isolated.
Now, real quick, this is another area where me and my spouse, we fall out, right? Because I told her this, look, I knew what I was in America, right? I was a young black kid. My parents weren't rich, but I was a black kid in North America, right? So I would read about any psychological issues that I can find or see. I would read about people who look like me, and I would compare and contrast what the world would expect out of me as a young black dude with no education at the time, and this kind of. I wasn't poor, but we weren't rich, right? I wasn't anywhere near Dave Chappelle's family's level of money, okay. But I wasn't poor. I didn't grow up in a slum. But what I did was I sat down and I fully accepted where I was born in life, what I was, and I analyzed what I could do to potentially solve it and fix it and grow out of it, right? So when I could sit down and I can read, I could essentially become like like the Myrons, right? And I could read about people who look like me and the crime rates and this and the that, and it's always thrown in your face. Okay, in turn, like look at that and see how can you beat that, right? So what my ex-spouse does is she doesn't even care to read about the statistics on where she's falling into all that and what she can possibly do to fix it. It's just, oh, I'm just here, so I'm waiting for somebody to just understand me for me, right? And she's a piece of shit now. She can't do anything because she's waiting for the world to come by and say, "Oh, we accept you just how you are. You don't have to change one bit." You know what I mean? Like she doesn't care. Now it's a little more acceptable for a woman because a woman can just suck somebody's dick and survive, right? And get free food and free whatever, right? But a man, you can't do that. It's your responsibility. Look, no matter what your life situation is, there is somebody else who is in your life situation or worse. Now, of course, there's going to be smaller differences, but in general, you can look and say, okay, what can work for you and what can't based off of your life in correlation with the people who were in a similar position as you and worked out of it, right? That's your responsibility to do that. It's not the job fair's responsibility. It's not the school counselor's responsibility. It really ain't your parents' responsibility. It's your responsibility to do that.
And if you look at the statistics on suicide, it's very interesting. So the number one thing that correlates with male suicide is not depression. And this is super scary. There's one study I saw recently that suggests that 50% of men who kill themselves have no history or evidence of mental illness. And this, I believe the statistic in my clinical practice because I know what depression looks like. I know what bipolar disorder looks like. And half the men that I've worked with, at least, are not actually mentally ill. See, mental illness means a pathology of the mind, which means that the mind is malfunctioning. Most of the suicidal men that I work with, their mind isn't malfunctioning. They genuinely have a life that is no longer worth living. They're looking at things and objectively realizing that there's no way out of this situation. So they turn to suicide. So I know it's kind of like a very controversial statement, but I think that's what my clinical practice has shown, and there's some research to even back that up. So if we sort of look at what's going on with men, we're sort of they have nowhere to turn to. And the number one thing that correlates with it is not mental illness, but is a sense of thwarted belongingness. So this is kind of like multivariate regression analysis. But basically what happens is what causes people to kill themselves is they try to connect with others and they get rejected. So it's specific.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Suicide most likely when people commit suicide because that person believes that there's not a way out of their life situation. It's not necessarily connecting with other people. If you really strip down people to their bottom core part, if they can fit let's say if a person is in like $1 million debt and they work at like CVS, right? That is a potential way for someone to commit suicide. That person will be on suicide watch. If they're locked up in a prison and they know that they're getting ready to get locked up for a long time, that person will be on suicide watch because they physically feel like they cannot escape the situation. It's the lack of feeling like you can escape a bad situation is what causes suicide. In my history of it, not so much the connection. No, some okay. No, I would no. In my opinion, with this, and from my history of working with people with this, in these situations, even when people go in a hole in isolations in prisons, okay, if this is true, where the person can't connect, then why is it that people can do 6 months in isolation in prison at a time, and suicide rates don't skyrocket in prison, in male prisons? You see, they literally can't communicate with anybody. So like that logic doesn't even. I wonder where he's getting that logic. See, and this is why you got to watch YouTube, because anybody can just say a 3-syllable word, or you could just run away and believe it if you don't give it critical thought. Like no. And I actually have a degree in this field, so I can actually elaborate on this. No, I knew that didn't sound right as soon as he said it. Suicide usually happens. People will not begin to consider suicide until they feel like they are completely trapped and they can't get out. Murders and suicides don't happen generally. Okay, well, murders happen for many other reasons, but fit into that boat too. Like, for example, when men will kill their entire family, right? See, that man felt stuck with that family, that he could never get rid of that family. He felt trapped by the family, so he killed the wife and kids. It happens. Or the wife will try to kill the husband, because she feels trapped with him. That's when pre-planned deaths typically happen because somebody felt trapped. It's not because of the lack of social connection. Lack of social connection will lead to drug abuse, but not suicides and murders.
Specifically, a very specific research term called thwarted belongingness. So I try to belong to a group, and that group, or multiple groups usually, will thwart my attempts to join the tribe, to join the community. And this is what actually correlates a lot with suicidality. So what's going on with men right now is that
let me Google, because I'm really curious where he's getting this from. Because I'm really curious. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this. Okay, now let's go to like a not, because these are just people trying to get paid, and they'll say anything to get more clients to get paid. Let me find like a legit national life suicide. This says social. Where was it? Social. This said it too. I don't know where this is coming from. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something, or maybe I'm just come at it wrong, but it says cope with stress difficulty and needs to seek solutions. That make appear to be more fearless. I don't know what that website is. I'm not going to Healthline. These are the health. See, sites like Healthline or Very Well Mind. These are places that will say anything that will link. See, this is why I hate people in these fields, is because if they're still looking for clients, they're gonna word it in ways to get you scared, so you'll come to him and pay him more money. This is things that these people will do, and that's why I don't hang out with these people at all. Again, like I don't remember that being. I mean, there are scenarios where the lack of social can play a part in it, but that has no direct correlation. It would be saying something like that would be like saying ice cream causes people to kill people because murder rates were higher in December. I'm sorry, higher in June. You know, just because people were eating more ice cream in June, that means that ice cream is behind the reason why people were being killed. You know, ice cream is essentially a prefix to murder, right? It fits in a timeline, but there's other factors that clearly underneath that.
We really don't allow them to suffer, because then you're not manly. And we're so externalized with our attention that we're not connecting with ourselves. And so we're looking to other people to tell us what it means to be a man. But that may or may not work for you, right? That may have been what worked for them. So then we kind of get into this problem where we're disconnected from ourselves. And then, like, the world doesn't accept us. We're not allowed to suffer. And that's what creates the problem.
What is the remedy to this?
So I think the first thing is we must reconnect with ourselves, right? So when you're...
The first thing you need to do is stop listening to motherfuckers that sound like him. These professionals that sound like white women. Right? That's the first thing. The first thing you need to do as a man is to stop listening to motherfuckers that sound like white women. All right. Go find you a man that will cuss and drink a glass of whiskey and talk to you. That's the first thing you need to go do. All right. That's the first thing you need to go find you need to find a grown ass man who will pour a bottle of whiskey and talk to you over some whiskey in a strip club or in a brothel. That's what you need to go do. Don't sit up and talk to a guy who talks like this and is probably trying to explain everything. And he sounds like a white woman named Sarah who lives in British Meadows and their parents drive Volkswagens. See, no, you ain't gonna get nowhere with that. You gonna be sitting there in the same spot 3 years from now, paying him about $150 an hour. You don't believe me? Try it. Go try it. Go take some lessons from me. And you're gonna be sitting in the same goddamn spot. Just circled, and both of y'all gonna be jacking off each other's dicks in the chairs, going, "Yeah, are you sad? Yes, I'm sad. Are you sad? Yes, I'm sad. Well, what are you gonna do? I'm here to listen. Well, my mother yelled at me when I was 6. Okay, well, did your dad yell at you when 6? Yeah, no, he didn't yell at me when I was 6. Y'all be sitting over there jacking off each other's dicks for an hour. The first thing you need to go do is find you a fucking man who will cuss and drink whiskey with you and have a real conversation. That's what you need to go find. It's too much of these. Jesus Christ. Because here's the sick and twisted part to what's happened in mental health work is that as men became feminized, well, there was some of the men who went off and actually got degrees who stayed in this kind of frail, kind of scared of the world, feminine manner of character, right? And now they're feeding in to the feminine men who are scared to be risk takers, scared to try and all this. And they're playing mother to the feminine men. The feminine men therapists are playing mother to the feminine men. They're not being men with the men. They're being feminine. They're being mommies. They're being faggot mommies to the men. Well, hi. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, well, it's great to meet you. It's great to meet you. Hope you had a good trip in today. So yeah. What's going on? Did anything like that? Okay. Does anything about this motherfucker scream that he knows what it is to be a man? Does anything? How long has he even talked? He even spoke. Out of the 7 minutes that this motherfucker has spoken total, did you feel like you were listening to 2 men on this YouTube channel? You mean, okay, let me ask you this, and be completely honest with yourself. Well, how these 2 men are
kind of saying like
are carrying themselves. Okay. Do you think that these men can spit in their wife's face while they fucking her? Answer the question to yourself. Do you think that either one of these men can spit in their wife's face while they fucking her and have her look up they spit on the bed while they fucking her doggy style? If you said no, well, you got some thinking. You already know where this is. Period. That's where you need to go. That if you're looking for a man, go find a man that can do. Go email facial abuse them dudes if you want to go find some men, because they ain't got a shortage of women to go fuck how they want to fuck them. I bet these guys do. I bet these dudes. Well, Sarah, I want to try something new in bed. I was thinking, because I listened to your feelings, Sarah. I was thinking, maybe I can just spit a little bit, not in your face though, not in your face, not in your face, not in your face, but just a little bit on your chest, a little. I just want to see it swirl. Yeah. And maybe I could take you to Starbucks later. Yeah. And it'd be just two bitches sitting on a bed. You think what's the name? Duke? What's the motherfuckers? You think they talking to bitches like, yeah, we just like to spit in your face? No. I mean, I'm sure they not complete assholes to the girls the whole time. But go email them motherfuckers at Facial Abuse and Ghetto Gaggers. Ask them how to be a man. They don't got a problem keeping bitches. All right. They don't have a problem. All right. Motherfuckers, because look, the core to men, even if a lot of guys are afraid to admit this, because that men are just raised to be fucked up, because the world tells you to not be mean and not do this and not do that, when in reality, like, that's what women really like for real, right? But the reality is, like, most men have that. At some point, they have that sadistic part of them that they want to get out in sex, right? And this is just a reality. Okay, it just is what it just is what it is. I won't say all men, but general at some point, all men will get that creative thought in their head to want that at some point, right? To fully be able to express themselves with whatever it is, whatever fantasy. But it's going to be in some way, usually a dominant fantasy, or even if it's a submissive fantasy. But they want to do that now. Like I said, if you're looking for a man in life, how to be a man, like, that is pretty much the core of becoming a man. Because once you can conquer that fear of expressing yourself with a woman, then you can go out in the world and figure out anything after that. You would have a much better chance doing that. But see, trying to figure out a job first, trying to go out there and figure out a workforce and colleagues and employees and all that first, and then trying to figure out women, that's going completely backwards. See, because you will never figure out, you will very rarely figure out women going that way, because the same things don't work in both worlds, right? Like, just doing a good job everywhere else does not make women want to have sex with you. Does not make women want to be submissive to you or anything like that. But if you can get with women and figure and figure that out, at least on some level, well, you can go out in the world and figure out pretty much anything, because that's the core of everything is food and sex on earth. Everything on earth can come back to food and sex. It's just how much food you're gonna get. How much food you're going to save up. But that's the core of everything in terms of interpersonal dynamics.
Why does everyone think, oh, I need to achieve this, I need to make this money and things like that? Where did you learn that you should do all that? You learned all that from the outside. Instagram, right? So we get fed all of these ideas, because if you look at all these influencers, what are they doing? They're never crying. They're smiling. Some of them will even pay very attractive women to take pictures with them.
Well, some of them are crying, but they're crying and uploading it for ulterior motives, right?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of them are genuinely suffering too. But then it's also like, I mean, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on. So one thing is, like, people say that we don't allow men to be emotional nowadays, but people say, oh, men are allowed to cry. So this is something that I experienced even in my marriage, where we allow men to cry, but we don't allow men to be angry. But why are men no longer allowed to be angry? You just think about it for a second. So anger is just a completely normal emotion, right? But if I'm in a situation where I'm in an argument with my wife and I feel emotion A and I express emotion A, and she feels emotion B and she expresses emotion B. These two things should be equal, right? We as both human beings get to express what we feel. Now, in the case of me expressing anger and her expressing sadness, she's crying and I'm yelling. Suddenly, I've become a villain.
It's so interesting.
Okay, look, be a villain. Be a villain. I'm not saying beat her up, but be a villain. I will start off an argument with her by saying I'm going to be the villain. I'm going to be evil because I'm going to say it. You know what I said? She gonna be mad at me for saying this on YouTube. She was dressing pretty shitty lately. She's been dressing pretty bad lately. And I bought 2 trench coats, right? And because I told her, I remember the first time I made her like cry. I remember the first time I felt bad because she was like really hurt. But I said this. We were in the grocery store, and she was dressed horribly. This is like when we first started dating, and I said, "You look like a homeless woman," and she like got real sad, and she went, "You hurt my feelings," and I feel bad because I did. You know, it's the way she was like, and she didn't even look at me. She just went like this. She was like, "You hurt my feelings." And I felt bad, but she looked like a homeless woman, right? I wasn't lying. Well, anyway, a few days ago, we was taking baby to school, and I told her to put on my coat because I bought 2 trench coats, so I let her wear one of them. And I said, "Yeah, you look nice in that. You don't you." I said you look far from a homeless woman today. And she goes, "Oh no, you can't say that." Stays like that. Be a villain. See, man, look, man. Let me tell you something. I get it. Sometimes it just happens naturally in a conversation. You know, sometimes you just don't want to start a problem because you don't still feel like arguing. But don't be afraid to be the villain, man. Like, I get it. Sometimes you just don't want to start an argument because you're just tired or whatever. Maybe you just don't want to even go there. But like, don't be afraid to be a villain. I mean, don't beat her up. I'm not saying beat her up or anything like that. But don't be afraid to have your set of standards, your set of rules, and this and that. Don't be afraid to do it because as soon as you do, she's gonna take advantage of it. Now, I bet you this dude literally couldn't keep a cup on the table if she didn't want it there. How much you want to bet? I will bet you $1,000 to a donut. He was scared to put teacups on the table. He was scared to leave them there. I would guarantee you. He's scared to leave his shoes by the bed. He's scared to leave his towels unfolded. How much you want to bet? Because that's how that shit starts. I will guarantee. I guarantee you. I will guarantee you. He was scared to leave his shoes by the bed, leave tea, to leave a cup on a table that wasn't tended to. I guarantee he was terrified to do that shit. Look, be the villain. Be the villain. And if she leaves, well, okay, cool. See, this whole thing of society trying to of men trying to convince society that society should care for them. I'm not saying it's wrong, but the world don't work like that. Okay, I mean, you can find some good friends you can talk to. I'm not saying don't have friends you communicate with these things, but trying to see what the shit he's talking about is no different from women trying to talk about we deserve equal pay to play basketball and all this shit when they're terrible at it, right? They women just aren't good at the same things men are good at in the workforce for one reason or another, right? But they're trying to force the world to accept it, and nobody accepts it for real. We just like go, oh yeah, we accept it, and I get the fuck out of here. It's the same thing and worse with this whole thing that men are trying to do this whole thing of, oh yeah, you need to accept that we have emotions too, and blah, 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 and yeah, we have okay, no. Now, like how I used to go on about Will Smith. Like Will Smith can get tough against Chris Rock. He can be tough with me, but see, he needs to take that toughness and do that to Jada. You doing this shit all on the wrong people. See, because if these dudes ever hear me talk, I know they're gonna be mad at me. But see, who they really need to be mad at is themselves and that woman they dealing with. They got them scared to come home late and scared to drink beer, and they got them scared to spend any extra money out the joint bank account and all that old silly shit. See, they not mad at me. They mad at that woman and themselves for letting that woman turn into that. Okay. Is all and in their anger, they're in their see, and here's the thing. In that frustration and anger of, oh, the world's not accepting us, the world blah 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 blah, they're gonna go take money from weaker men than them who don't know no better to make themselves feel better for it, for feeling as being men themselves. See how that cycle works? And then guess where that money's going? Back to that bitch who he's scared of, and hopes she writes back. Oh, what's happened? I thought you would call me back, but you said you'd be home by 7, and I haven't heard anything. So whenever you get this message, just give me a call. Remember, my emotions count too. Kisses. That's a sick fucking cycle, man. That's a sick fucking cycle. If I had to pick one cycle, I'd pick Andrew Tate above these dudes any day of the week. Right? I'd pick being Andrew Tate over these dudes any day of the week, dude. Literally. Fuck that. Let's go back to this.
Saw a viral tweet yesterday. It was someone Googling, my wife is yelling at me, what should I do?
Kick
And
her
then
out.
my husband is yelling at me, what should I do? When they Googled, my husband is yelling at me, what should I do? Domestic violence helpline comes up as like a Google pop-up. When you Google, my wife is yelling at me, what should I do? Nothing comes up.
And yeah, in real fact, here's the big difference. And this is what I say about domestic abuse all the time. Most cases. I'm not saying domestic abuse is okay, but what I'm trying to say is this. For things like, let's say like, okay, the women who seek help are usually never the ones who are really being hurt. Okay, usually the ones who are really being hurt never go seek help. Okay, or they really, or they like the guy to actually like hurt them, and see these are these areas that see guys like this never ever want to talk about, or they can't talk about it unless they demonize it, because again it's that peacemaker shit that I touched on last week. They dive into this almost peacemaker like logic of, well, all women are great and men did this, so we have to demonize men in some way because that's how the world is, and blah blah blah. They dive into this like peacemaker defective sense of logic from a premeditated thought on reality, instead of actually acknowledging reality. So like I said, there's many women out there who want a guy to hit her. They want guys to yell at them and all this. And see, these are the topics that these guys don't like to talk about, like in as if it can be possibly okay, because they're afraid of getting canceled and all that faggot shit, right? But it's the complete reality. When a woman starts to do that, and this is gonna sound super fucked up, but this is the truth. When a woman starts to like go to social media or anything like that for, like, let's say if a man's yelling at her or something like that, my initial thought is she likes it, but she doesn't like it from him. Okay. Because if she didn't like it, she would just leave. And see, again, these are the parts that the world always seems to forget, is that women know how to leave when they don't want to be somewhere. They know how to drink fruit juice instead of olive oil with dinner. They know exactly how to do these things. Okay, they're not stupid in this sense. They know. Okay, if that woman is still there, it's because she wants to be there. You see, and see, these are the brutal realities that the world is just too afraid to accept. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep this going.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as you said, in the case of villainization, I know that most domestic violence comes from men, but it's interesting that we see the emotion, we interpret the emotions entirely differently because of that. It's interesting that we see the emotion, we interpret the emotions.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
Real fast.
Because obviously, as you said, in the case of villainization, I know that most domestic violence comes from men.
No. Okay. Yeah. See, this is technically correct. Can you guys see the closed caption? I know that most domestic violence comes from men. That's like saying I know most sexual assaults come from men. Okay, but remember, all the definitions of domestic violence and sexual assaults were literally written against men. I'm sorry, they were literally written for men. So that's why all men are doing it. You see what I'm saying? So let's say like, and see, this is another dark path that like the world hates. The world will demonize you for acknowledging. And for example, the girl this morning, she's I think she's like a feminist girl. And here's the thing: they will say these things without giving it much thought and hope you just agree with it until you actually elaborate. Because actually, me and this girl, we were talking this morning, the girl I teach, and she was saying how what was it? It was something about men and women. Oh, that's what it was. We were talking about prostitution. And she was like, well, the girl must be poor, or else why would a girl do it? She must be poor, or she must need money. I said, not necessarily. It could be, fear of missing out. Maybe she wants to move to Prague and she knows, having sex will get her out of her small village. And then the girl goes on, oh yeah, then the girl, the girl I'm teaching, now she elaborates and then goes, well yeah, because she can make a lot more money doing that instead of working all day at, Tesco or, the grocery store. Then it's like, yeah, it's not just women are all completely innocent. It's just how it's, immediately projected. And here's the thing, like feminists or like these peacemaker kind of guys, they'll just throw out the general consensus. And if you that's the proper way to use it, they'll just throw out that general social understanding and hope you just agree and move on, okay, without giving it any critical thought. Okay. Any law book is going to be mostly aimed towards men, and especially in terms of any type of sexual situation or domestic disputes. Okay, it's usually going to be immediately directed towards men. These laws were made against men. And I've said this years ago. I think men and women need their each individual law books because the same laws don't apply to both sexes. They just don't. See, domestic violence comes out in many other ways, but see, women have manipulated the hell out that system. They've had 300,000 years of practice at manipulation. Okay. That divorce attorney, he went on about how women they don't do domestic violence, but they manipulate. Like they'll manipulate the kids and saying, "Oh, your dad gave you McDonald's. Oh, he get again. Oh, he gave you McDonald's." Now, she didn't actually say anything bad, but she's inferring that the dad did something bad. See, it's those little things that never get counted as domestic violence. And guess what? Women sit down in their little women's groups and they go, "Tee hee, I got him," because that didn't count as domestic violence. See, they get together and orchestrate these manipulations. See, that's why that's why men end up statistically being the ones who cause all domestic violences, right? Because women manipulated the fuck out of it. You see? And then they'll lead all men to think that, yeah, you're the ones who are violent and all this. No, okay, you're physically violent, but women are far more mentally violent. It's not even close. The reason why women aren't physically violent because they can't be. They have to rely on being mentally violent in manipulative ways. Me and my spouse, we got this thing going. Oh, well, this is another reason why I kicked her out. I asked her for very little things, like a handful of things. And it became clear that she just wasn't listening. And it was all this shit that added up, right? So this is another small thing. In my refrigerator on the top shelf, there's the light bulbs up there, right? And it's an old refrigerator. So she put in a new light where the light bulb goes in, but that light bulb gets really hot. So I tell her, don't put anything near that light bulb because it's going to get hot. And what's the first thing she does? Put everything up there by the light bulb. So I got to go move. I literally asked her for one thing that I'm actually asking for, and she doesn't do it. Right? Amongst three or four other things, but it's like very small things. I personally ask her to do. She just completely ignores it and then does whatever she wants to do. Now, is that domestic abuse? No. But what does that really do? It causes frustration and it getting me angry. That way I get angry and now I'm a domestic abuser, right? See, that's how that works. But see, that's what these guys won't tell you. Like would actually see what the criminal system and what these divorce what anybody who deals with mental health and interpersonal situations, see what they don't talk about in the mainstream world is that, okay, in the context of domestic abuse, well, see, men don't just sit around and just be like, ho hum, bitch, get the fuck up, bop. You know what I mean? Men don't, nobody sits around and does these things like that. Nobody just randomly gets up and just starts beating women up for no goddamn reason, just because they just felt like it. Nobody just sit down and just go, I wonder who won the game today. Anyway, Susan, whap. Like, it's not how humans don't work like that. Give it critical thinking skills. What would make a man end up getting up so frustrated that now he's walking around and yelling in a bad mood? That somebody must have did something to him. I wonder who. Now where's the domestic violence coming from? Now we've applied thinking. That's misogynistic because men are just supposed to be just random crazy animals who are just violent for no reason at all. Like in the Ike and Tina movie, like Ike was just this completely crazy batshit dude, and Tina was just this perfect little angel who watched over the kids and was heavenly, and Ike just beat her ass for no reason. That is dangerous propaganda, dude. Like, dangerous. Judge Joe Brown, he came out years ago telling the realities about Tina Turner. Because I think he said he grew up where Tina Turner was from. And he had stories about Tina Turner being ridiculous. And he said Ike was the one who was, like, telling all the kids to go to school and all that. And she was ridiculous. But the movies made her out to be this little innocent damsel and all this shit. Like, women's manipulation is dangerous, dude. The guy with the hair has a video bringing out female bullying. I'd say it's somewhat watchable video. Okay, well, maybe I'll watch that tomorrow then. Maybe I'll watch it tomorrow. Let me read it off here now. A woman who founded the first women's refuge in the early 70s stated how more than half the women weren't victims. They also put hands on their men and children. Well, yeah, I'm not surprised. But see, what I'm afraid. See, this is what I was going on with that video I made, like with the confusion of facts. Right, like, because anybody could just say a word that is, or say a statement that's technically a fact, and say it with confidence, and use a few 3 or 4 syllable words that sound like they're intelligent, and either tell completely half truths or tell or lead to things that would infer a different meaning to get more people to come as clients for them. Okay, I'm here. Here's the thing. To all men, I'm here telling you this. The problem is not women. The problem is you and risk taking. That's where the problem lies. The problem, now when I say risk taking, I'm not saying like, do something like, do criminal activity. I'm not trying to say be a criminal. But what I'm trying to say in risk taking is the problem is not in women. Okay, I'm not saying women are dumb. Women can do very dumb shit. But overall, as a man, the problem with you is not men. The problem is in you and becoming. And you become through risk taking. Think back to all the great men in history, right? Think back to all the great men in history. All right. Not counting like, kings who were like in that system where they just automatically became princes and kings. I'm talking like all the great men who like won wars and shit like that. They had to take risks. Now look back at all the great women. They were handed it. It was given to them. Or they married a great man. See how that works? It's not even natural for a man to receive shit and then be and it's not common to receive shit for free and then be still seen as great. Would you call Donald Trump great? Would anybody call Donald Trump great? You see what I'm saying? Like, would anybody call a man who was literally gifted $1 million great? Would they could? There is no way that the only way that man could be seen as great is if it was like completely documented that he gave like all his money down to the dime to save somebody else's life, something like that. But like there, just because, or let's say like the Prince Henry guy who married the Meghan Markle girl, like that dude will never know what it's like to be a great man. Somebody's gonna tell him he's a great man because they want some of his money, but he will never know the feeling of being a great man just because of how he was born, the position he was born in. He will never, that's the only thing guaranteed in that man's life is he will never be truly seen or known as a great man. And it's fucked up, but it's true. I don't wish that on him. It's just the position he was born into. It was a small loan of $1 million, yeah. But yeah. You have, as a man, you have to take chances. You gotta, if you don't like the spot you're in life, you gotta take chances. Like I tell men before, man. Like I tell men, or like I tell anybody, men and women. Look at your life. Look at everything you did in your life. The good and the bad, the lucky and the unlucky, right? And think to yourself, would you truly be excited to meet somebody like you in the world? I mean, truly excited. Not like in an understanding way, like, oh, they worked at Walmart too, so maybe they know, blah, 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 the gas registers. Like, not like that. I mean, like, look at your life, what you've done with your life, the good and the bad. And can you imagine being genuinely excited to meet somebody like you? Now, if you can, then that's great. And if not, well, you got some work to do. Right? So if you see yourself, like, look at yourself. Okay. And if somebody say, yeah, there's this person like AD, they graduated, went to university, they at least tried the military, and they live in Europe, and they walk his son to school every day, and he's a teacher, and that, like, I would be excited to meet a woman version like me. Like, I would genuinely be like, I would genuinely be excited to meet a female version of me, right? Now, I mean, and not just like, oh, like on an app, but I would genuinely like have questions, right, to ask. Now, if you're not in that position, then you got some work to do to where you can be excited to meet you, right? Now, when I say that, on the other hand, like most women just will never ever, that exercise will never ever really be a true reality for women because most women just don't naturally have, hobbies and these kind of things. But it's still a good exercise to do with women because most women will finally start to see it. Like, would you date? I told my spouse this. Like, would you date you if you were in the world? She said no. But yeah. So I'm gonna leave you with that exercise. Look at your life. Are you doing? Would you be excited to date you? Look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your clothes. If you're not happy with your clothes, how you look in the mirror, whatever the fuck, then you got some work to do. On some level, you got some work to do. Okay. I'm not saying you got to be completely happy with yourself because maybe you just got a funny looking face or whatever the fuck. I get that. But have some sense of like, through accomplishments or personalities or hobbies or some type of skill, something that you are looking for. And it's about like if you don't feel that about yourself, then you got some work to do. So yeah, don't blame it on okay. Don't blame it on. I mean, I mean, I get it. It's okay to talk about it, but don't spend too much time in life being unfair and all that. It's okay to talk about it, but don't spend too much time in that black pill, the world's unfair shit, because all that does is it's gonna turn you to a 45-year-old bitter woman who's gonna start looking for some perfect ideal situation that's just not reality. Okay, it's just not. I'm not saying it's not. It's right, but it's just not reality. And you're gonna turn into that old 45, 50-year-old single mother woman who's bitter because she she wants some mystical, majestic shit that she's created in her head that just is not reality. In her life. So I'm out. Y'all have a good day tonight. I'll catch y'all later, man. Maybe I'll live stream tomorrow. I don't know. But I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out.